Hi, this is Chaim Metzger. We're continuing on with study of the Eruvin. We are in the sixth parak. We are continuing on the Gemara on Daf Samach Bet Amud Aleph. Yadav Abaye Barabin, Rochena Barabin, Yativ Abaye Gabayu, Yadvi Kamri. So Abaye Barabin, Rochena Barabin were sitting in front of Abaye, and as they were sitting, they said the following. Yishlam Rabbi Meir Kasavre Dira Goy Shmei Dira. Loshna Chad, Loshna Trey. Minor said of Meir's opinion, who had said in the Mishnah that if there's a non-Jew living with them, then that creates a problem for the Jew having his Eruv. He says that a non-Jew lives somewhere, his residence is a real residence. Luckily, that makes a difference for us. And it doesn't matter whether there's one non-Jew, or two non-Jews, or one Jew there, two non-Jews there. So we can understand why he says it's a problem. A non-Jew creates problems making an Eruv. But El Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, Micah Savar. But what about Elazar ben Yaakov? How does his opinion work out? Ika Savar Dira Goy Shmei Dira Afilu Chadnami Nitzar Vilo Shmei Dira Afilu Trei Nami Lo Nitzar. So Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov's opinion we don't get. If he thinks that a non-Jew living there, his residence affects the ability there to work, who cares whether there's one? Why would one be an issue? Why do you need two? One should also be a problem. And if you say the issue is that the non-Jew's residence doesn't count halachically, then if there's two, it shouldn't make a difference. Just like one is no good, two shouldn't do anything. All of a sudden, is two this magic number? The suburb mayor Dira Goish Medira. And then a buyer responds, wait, does the Eruvin mayor hold that the resident for non-Jews considered to be residents luckily? But it's like, no, the Eruvin mayor couldn't possibly hold that, because didn't the Beit state that the courtyard of a non-Jew is luckily considered to be like an animal, like a residence for animals, which doesn't affect anybody else's usage of the huts there, and therefore they can use it. No, rather, everybody agrees that that non-Jews residence doesn't count as a halachically residence. Rather, what's the question? There's a pyramid rabbanan that you might learn from his actions, and that's what they're arguing about. Elazar ben Yaakov Savar came on the goy chashud ashrichas damim trei dishlichet idare gazribu chad lo shchiachlo gazribu rabbanan. So Elazar ben Yaakov says no. This is all like what? So what do you mean by this gezerah? So it means that the Chomed gezerah about living with non-Jews. If there is one if they're living with, Jews are always afraid that if living with non-Jews that they might get murdered, so they wouldn't live there by themselves. But two Jews would live there. So that's why when there's two, having two Jews in a non-Jewish city is a frequent occurrence, but only one will never happen. So the case of two is where we have the gezerah b'drabanan, but in the case of one, that's not. There's no gezerah b'drabanan preventing you from living with a non-Jew. Remeir Savar Zimnin Demikre V'Dayer. No, but sometimes Remeir says no. And sometimes a non-Jew lives with a Jew in the same courtyard, and there's only one Jew. Amar Rabbanan in Erev Moyel b'Makom Goy in Bittul Rishut Mo Makom Goy Ad Shiyaskir B'Goy Lo Mogar. So Remeir says as follows that. Right, it might happen that there's a single Jew living with many non-Jews. That can happen, he thinks. And then the Zichron said that an Eruv won't work with non-Jews living there, and the non-Jew can't be Mevatel or Shus, can't negate his rights to the area because non-Jews don't have that ability. That's an ability unique to Jews to do bittul. And the only way to get that you could use it is if you were to rent the usage of the area from the non-Jew. But a non-Jew would not be willing to rent out his courtyard and not be able to use the courtyard. No non-Jew would ever agree to that. So therefore, that's why he says that if there's a non-Jew in the courtyard, you can't have an Eruv. My time, huh? So why does he say that the non-Jew won't rent him let him use his courtyard for the Eruv? So maybe the reason why the non-Jew would say no is because, well, he's worried that by the Jew renting out the space, he's trying to kick him out of his use of the courtyard, and that's the issue. Elamanda Amar Astur Uabina, Michael Manor. But what if you say that all you need is not the greatest, you need a bad renting, meaning Sturabri, I mean, like, as if you're actually planning on renting out his yard, his courtyard. But Sturua means it's more symbolically. It's like any amount. It doesn't have to be the full value. It's just, let me rent it. It's just for a halachic thing. Don't worry about it. Michael Memar, Ditmar, Rav Chist Amar, Sturabria. Rotation Amar Serua. As we said, Rav Chist says it's very serious. They need to do proper renting, like the actual value for usage of the courtyard. But Rav Sheshes says no. You just need to do a little bit of Stirut. But now we're going to try and figure out what's the difference between those two. What's a Sturabria? What's a Sturabria? What's the difference? So my Ruah, my Bria. So Elam a Bria Pruta. So maybe when you want to say Bria, that's referring to a Pruta. Ruah is Pakamashah Pruta. So right, so that's one thing. So Bria means you paid a Pruta, again, which is a very small amount, like about a quarter. And Ruah is less than that. So Miika Laman Damar Migoy Pakamashah Pruta Lo. It's just when does a non-Jew not accept for less than a shavruta? Shalach Rabbi Yitzchak Rabbi Yaakov Bar Giri Mishmei Rabbi Yochanan. Hayodin Shofrim Menagoy Afil Pakum Shavruta. The thing is, I was like, what do you mean, Bria versus Ruah being about shavruta? We know that it works if you use any amount with non-Jews, you can do a shavruta. So Amar Rabbi Yechia Bar Abba Amar Rabbi Yochanan Benoach Meharaga Pakum Shavruta Vlonitan Leishavon. So. Meaning, so for the case of non-Jews, so Rabbi Yechia and Bar Abba said that Rabbi Yochanan according to the laws of Seven Mitzvot Bnei Noach, the Noahide laws, if a non-Jew were to steal even less than shavruta, he's liable for the death penalty, and still item he can't return it, so then he gets to death, and that's it. So therefore, you can rent for any amount from a non-Jew, and it'll work. So what do we mean by Bria versus Ruah? Then if we say that no matter what, it'll work no matter the value. El Bria b'morki b'borgini, Ruah below morki b'borgini. So Bria means, when you say it's a good sale, what is that? A good rental? That means that you have legal documents and using the Borganin, which means using the bureaucracy. But a bad rental agreement is if you simply did it without either of those things. Nichulman da Amar Stir Bria Bina. So this makes sense if you want to say this is between Bria versus Ruah, right? So if you need a good rental, I understand. So that's why you need to have everything signed and proper. Wait, so why would you need this a bad rental that's not written down, no official signage? Like, what's up? Michael, why would it work? So why would you say it still wouldn't work? Because the non-Jew thinks Jews doing some magic. Like, why don't you? Why? If he's because basically the non-Jew is even for a flawed rental, the guy doesn't want to do it because he thinks that Eruvin is some magic thing he's putting on the neighborhood in order to kill him. So he'll be scared, and therefore he won't want to rent with you. So and that's why Rameir says even with one non-Jew, the Eruvin will not work because he would definitely not be willing to rent to you for fear for his life. Jews do magic apparently. We said earlier, we mentioned earlier that the courtyard of a non-Jew is like an animal's residence, and you're allowed to bring things in and remove things from there, from the yard, from the courtyard to your houses, and vice versa. But if there's one other Jew, then this doesn't work anymore. Rabbi Yaakov says no. You can have two Jews living in the chatzer for this to go into effect. So Amar so Amar Mar chatzer shall go harei b'dir shel behema. Hanan chader iman afri b'chatzer harei zeh sarla. Wait a minute. But didn't we say that on one hand we say that if the non-Jew's residence doesn't count? It's like an animal. It's like having a pen for animals there, which doesn't have any effect on Eruvin. So yet at the same time, we have a Mishnah that says Hadar imanachri b'chatzer reizah serlav. That if you live in the same chatzer as a non-Jew, you can't use a chatzer on Shabbos. Wait, so what is it? No. Lo kasha had ite had leite. No. That's easily reconcilable. The difference is if the non-Jew is currently there or not currently there. If he's currently there, then that creates a problem with the Eruv. But if he's not there, then the fact that he owns the place there doesn't affect your usage of the Chatzar. Ma'ika Savar, and why would that be the case? And if you think that a dira without any owners is a real dira, then even the non-Jew also would forbid it. And if you think that a dira that has no owners is considered to be a valid one, then even for a Jew, it also would forbid it. So no, what is it? Rather, again, any residence that's not owned. With any resident, the owners aren't there, lo shmir, they don't count. Israel, no, you're right. So for non-Jews, you're right. It matters only if they're there or not. For Jews, we say you're right. Only when they're there, they make an issue. But if they're not, we the Gzer Rabbanan said that that even if he's not there, we don't let you use it. In case he happens to be there, then that's so that which would then create a problem. So then for a non-Jew, there's also an issue. If he's there, then there's the Gzer Rabbanan of we don't want you learning from the non-Jews bad habits. So therefore, that's why we're going to make you have to rent it and all this trouble. If he's there, he's going to forbid it on you. If he's there, he should be forbidden. But if he's not, then how are you going to get affected by him? Like he's not there. What do you mean? If he's not there, it's not usher? Didn't we just say that it is? We learned the Mishnah. Because every mayor holds that if somebody left his house and isn't there for Shabbos, whether it's be a Jew or a non-Jew, then you can't make then that means you can't make an Eruv that week. So why does the mayor hold that way? How come to be Yomi? The answer is because the person left his house and he's probably going to return on that very same day on Shabbos, and since he's going to return, it's going to forbid. For a Jew, right? So that's that'll happen. Also for non-Jew, also very like how the non-Jew returning. So Amar Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Lachak Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, and Rabbi Yehuda says Lachak Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov that you need to have two Jews living in a place of non-Jews for it to become a problem. Rav Huna Amar Minhag Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, but Rav Huna says the Minhag is like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Nahadu Am Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Rabbi Yochanan says that the Minhag is to follow Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. So then today, if there's two people, it's a problem. If there's one, if there's two Jews with many non-Jews, it's a problem. But one Jew with many non-Jews is not a problem. Amrullah Abayla Rav Yosef. So Abayla Rav Yosef. Amalam Mishnat Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Ukabanaki. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Halacha Elazar ben Yaakov. So why is this the case? So Abayla said to Rav Yosef, we established that the Mishnah, the teachings of Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov are it measures the cow, but it is clean, meaning that it is that he didn't give many of them. They're very, very small number, but they're very clear, and therefore that's what we're going to go with. If he says anything, and Rabbi Yehuda says the name of Shmuel, the levels of Rabbi ben Yaakov. So Mahula Ori b'Makom Rabbo. Wait, but then we're asking is, how is Rabbi ben Yaakov ruling this? Sometimes he's even arguing when his Rebbe is teaching. Which one is it? So why is this not enough problems? Amarlai. And to show you're not allowed to ask when your Rebbe is there. So this we see this based on an actions done by Rav Chisda, that as long as Rav Huna was alive, he wouldn't paskin even about cooking a egg and kula a dairy dish, even though he refused to say that this will be dairy, even though that's pretty obvious that would be dairy. If you cook something that's in a dairy dish, it'll be dairy. I mean, with dairy food, it'll be dairy. So Amar Lai Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba Abaye, so Rabbi Yaakov, son of Abba, said to Abaye, "Go Megillah Tani Dichtiva Umancha." He said, "What can you paskin?" It's written down and clear, like Megillah Tani, which is a list of days that you can't fast. That again, it's written down. Everybody has it on the shelf. You take it off and you simply read it. Mahul Ore Batre de Rabbe. But are you allowed to teach in the place where your rabbi happens to be residing? Amrlai Hachi Amar Yosef. So then the response of Abai was, is this what Rav Yosef said? Afilu bayate b'chutka b'o minei merchetza kol shane dervuna v'lo orei. So, right, so that, and then he's quoted from before that Rav Chisda refused to pass me about an egg as long as it was alive. He refused to issue while his master's alive, right? So Rav Chisda Ore Bechafri B'Shnei Dervuna. Wait, then the Gemara brings the story that Rav Chisda gave rulings in the town of Kafri when Rav Huna was alive. Now onto some. Gimel Rav Huna Ore Becharta the Argez B'Shnei the Rav Chisda. And similarly, Rav Huna issued rulings in the town of Charta the Argez during Chisda's life, and then Chisda was his Rebbe. So and Ravina Sar Sakina B'Bavel. Similarly, Ravina had examined Slaughter's knife in Bavel, even though his Rebbe Rav Ashi was still alive, living there. So Amar Le Rav Ashi, my time Abed Marachi. So then Rav Ashi, his Rebbe asked Ravina, wait, why are you doing this? Aren't you not supposed to do this? So Amar Le, Rav Hamnuna Ori Becharta the Argaz Mishnei Rav Chisda. So then Ravina says back to his Rebbe Rav Ashi, wait, but didn't Rav Hamnuna give rulings in Ori in Chartib the Argaz when Rav Chisda is alive? Amrlai Lav Ori Itmar. No, it's actually stated. No, actually the point that you had it wrong. The rather that which is that he didn't give any rulings during the time of teacher, and that was issue. So Amrlai Itmar Ori Itmar Lo Ori. So Ravina says, but actually I've heard it both ways that he didn't teach, he didn't teach. Retainer Ravuna, Rabbehu, the lower the Ore, Bishnei, the Rachista. He didn't teach in the years of Ravuna, but he did in the years of Rachista, Tamachaver, Dilayhava. But he did it because of Rachista, because Rachista was his Tamachaver. Therefore, that's why it's okay. But Ana Nami, Tamachaver, Damar Ana. And our I, and then didn't Ravina said to Rashi, aren't I also your student as well as your teacher, and therefore that's why I'm allowed to do it as well. And that's why he did it.